So, welcome everybody to the current session. And the session has the name Update from the CAP.js community, Experience the latest addition to CAP. There, Oliver Clemens here, who is actively contributing to the CAP.js community, will give an update of what's currently going on there. And I think you will have a special focus on WebSockets and the new Commons plugin that is available. So let's join me in giving Oliver a hand and enjoy the session.
So, okay.
There seems to be a technical difficulty.
Oh, okay. Okay. Welcome from my side. My name is Oliver Clemens. I'm architect and developer of the SAP Advanced Financial Closing at SAP, and also one of the major contributor to the CAP.js community. And today in this session, I would like to give you an update, some news from the CAP.js community. I guess we were a part of the last year's sessions as well. And yeah, some new stuff is available. So we would like to share the latest and greatest. So probably you know that there is something like the CAP.js community. So this is community-driven CAP modules that are not owned by the CAP team itself, by the CAP core team, as opposed to the CAP.js organization on GitHub. We have this CAP.js community organization on GitHub. Sharing some reuse modules that we contribute as part of our development, also from SAP, but also from outside. Okay, so what's currently in the box? So just as a recap, so that you know what is currently the focus of the CAP.js community. Maybe you have heard about that. So this is one of the oldest contributions. This is the OData version 2 adapter, which basically provides the OData version 2 protocol for CAP.js Node.js for CAP Node.js projects. So it's not directly built into the core, but there's a CAP plugin for that serves the OData version protocol, especially for serving Fiori Elements version 2 UIs. The other one that is available for a longer time and that is mainly maintained by my colleague Richard Lindner is the MTX tool, and this one is especially useful if you need to manage multi-tenant applications on Cloud Foundry. So if you're working on software as a service projects, probably this tool is a good companion to be tried out because it helps a lot when operating your solutions. Next one, the event queue. We heard already today about the event queue, but this is somehow the source, the original one. Now we have also one built into the CAP core, but this one goes far beyond. It has a lot of production grade features that are really helpful when operating your business logic in production, and it provides a reliable and safe asynchronous way of processing your logic. So yeah, if you have such a use case, for example, for the inbound, outbound, that's the way to go. Of course, you can use the CAP standard, but if you want to go beyond, have some load balancing and so on, then probably should also give this a try, because it's a drop-in replacement. So you can just install the Eventu plugin and it works similar way, but with a lot more features. Then part of the community is also the feature toggle library. And this provides live updates, live updatable toggles via Redis. So basically the toggles are living within the server, so not outside, and they are distributed across the system and the instances via Redis. And they also nicely integrate with the CAP toggles and can be used in combination. So today I want to focus on a new module or a project that is a common one, meaning that it contains some reuse code and common functionality across all the other modules that are created in CAP.js community, but it can also be used as a common module that is shared across different CAP projects itself. So we will focus on that. And last but not least is the WebSocket module or plugin. It's also a CAP plugin that provides the WebSocket protocol for CAP services out of the box. And also this is a focus of this session today. Okay, so coming to the CAP.js community common package, what's in there currently is that there's an implementation of a replication cache. There was a session in the morning where this was already talked about. And what this provides is basically a tenant-aware SQLite caching for CDS. That means that if this is configured with an annotation, CDS replicate on an entity level, it will build up a transient for each schema, an SQLite database, and will cache the data that is queried, for example, from the HANA database, into that SQLite database, tenant specific. And then once the cache is available, it will serve the follow-up requests on from this SQLite database, improving the times because it can read from cache. And this works on complete SQL queries because it does not cache specific results, but it really caches whole entity sets. And you can also have complex queries joining probably several cached entities that are annotated with replicate and have the possibility to serve multiple cache requests as opposed of having just static caches. So you can give this a try. This is available there. Another one that is available there as well and is also used in our product is the rate limiting, because as when serving APIs, often you have the requirement to also rate limit the service. And when you do that within your backend, you can now use this rate limiting functionality. So you annotate your service with a rate limiting annotation, specifying the options how the rate limiting should work. And this works, of course, on a service and tenant throttling, and is also Redis backed for distributed setups, so that it really also counts correctly across the instances. And if this is then activated and the client runs into then the rate limiting, then it will get the correct answer 421 and the respective header, so that he knows about that the rate limiting was hit and he needs to wait until it is free again. And as said, I already talked about that we use Redis in multiple situations. For example, for the feature toggles, we use Redis. The distributed toggles, we have the event queue where we distribute events so that we know that there's something to be processed. WebSockets, we distribute the WebSocket events through Redis, and therefore we have built a common Redis client that is shared among all these modules, and it handles the Redis connectivity. It has support for out-of-the-box integration via CDS-env, so it will look up reCAP from Cloud Foundry, but also Kima. And you can out of the box then connect to Redis without any configuration. Supports also cluster and Sentinel setups, and is used as said across multiple modules within the CapJS community, but also in some other projects. Then we have a CDM builder that's quite in an early phase, but nevertheless, you can try that out. It will generate you a common data model from your project, reading all your app structure and your FLP deployer structure, and basically helps you to get jump started for providing a content provider for WorkZone. It's a command line that you can use. Okay. And the other one is the local HTML5 repository that we have in stock. Often if you test hybrid locally, but hybrid against app router, the HTML5 repository is served from the remote service. And so if you change your UI5 apps, it will not take effect because it is served from the HTML5 repository. And that means with this local HTML5 proxy that runs locally, you will serve your local UI5 files instead of the remote ones, and you can test hybrid against the other BTP services, but change your UI5 services locally. So this is also of great help when developing hybrid, especially against the HTML5 repository. And the last but not least is the migration check. This one is a feature that helps you to detect breaking changes already during development. So there's a set of rules that is implemented and checked against incompatible changes. And there's also a CLI to test that. And I would like to show this in a demo. So going to my IDE, I have here a bookshop project. And that basically has a schema, of course. And now I ask Claude to add the migration check because I'm lazy. Hopefully can do it faster than me. Otherwise, I have to do it on my own. And basically, what it should do is that, yeah, there's a skill that it finds, and it will upgrade my project to include now the common package, and will configure some scripts so that I can use this in my development process, either locally or in the pipeline. Unfortunately, takes a little bit longer than expected, but nevertheless, probably it will make it. Okay, so hopefully very slow today. That time I could have done it myself without burning any tokens, but I have a fallback because it's just a very simple change. Okay, so I guess I did it now. So all it basically does is to install the CapJS community common package and includes two scripts that I can execute. They build the model and check against the tool. So doing this and also installing again so that the package is installed. And now what I have is that I can call CDS-C, I called it for CDS migration check. And when I do so, it will first give me the information that there is no production season it can check against. So the idea is that you keep a reference of the season that is active in production, keep in your development branch so you can check against that. So the first thing I need to do to really get that started is that I update it once. So we'll build the project and store a production season. It also stores a production season hash so that it prevents you for unintentional changes. For example, if you do a string replace of your whole project, you would also change the season prod, but the hash will then not match. And there's a whitelist feature. So now when I go to my schema and say I do a change, my stock is not an integer, but it is a string. And I run the check again, and hopefully it will reject that change. And you can think of that you include this check now either locally, of course, but you can also include that in your pipeline checks, meaning that the pipeline and the pull request voter will fail and you will not able to merge this because, yeah, it will, in the end, if you would not do that and change it, probably it will break only on the customer side if you have not tested it before. because there are some subtle changes that probably you not always detect, like shortening a type, which could work fine in your environment, but could fail in the customer environment. So yeah, I checked that, and now I said, okay, I need to revert. And probably you can also say, I want to have a new field. And then I do this again, and then it's saying that even in that case, you can configure that, but by default also changes to new fields need to be whitelisted. That's a feature. You can disable that, but it's activated here. And I could now say whitelist changes. And basically what it does, or what it should do, it whitelists the changes here in a whitelist file so that you are aware of that these fields are new, and you have also a change tracking when you commit this. So currently the performance is not that good. But yeah, you could imagine that if I whitelist, then the check would be green, and then I would update the prod season again, because this is the season that is then deployed to the customer side. And then if I would remove this color again, it would fail because the prod season contains this color. So it's already active for the customer. Customer already maintained colors for some books. And basically, you should not remove it anymore because that would result in a loss of data for the customer. Okay, I stopped this here because for the time being, I want to come to the next topic. And that is the WebSockets. This is another module where some additional features have been implemented the last year, namely the client determination. So WebSockets, basically, as said, provides a WebSocket protocol. I guess everybody has heard of WebSockets, and with the WebSocket module, you get out-of-the-box support for WebSockets without any coding, but that you can just model your WebSockets and use this. And by default, of course, you have a filtering per tenant and service for isolation, so you cannot break out of tenant and service for WebSockets. But often it is the case that you don't want to broadcast WebSocket events to all users, and that's why you can restrict it. For example, you can have a client determination on user, on role, or in context, which is similar like the rooms that you can enter or leave, or even on identifiers, which mean you can address specific WebSocket clients. And you can combine all these with N and ORs. So this helps you to really broadcast and send WebSockets to only the specific user group that should receive it, and don't flood all the communication channels, which sometimes is done. And then there's another concept of web service mix-in. So you can not only expose the service, but you can enhance an existing OData service, for example, to include WebSocket mix-in events. So just very specific events are enabled for WebSockets. It's possible with the WebSocket annotation on event level. And you can change the format and the path individually. And the last one I also want to show a demo, and which probably is also most interesting, is the event-driven side effects. That means Fiori Elements has a way to invalidate the UI via side effects, and these can also be triggered by events for a live UI refresh. And they are based on the PCP format. ABAP, for example, implements that. And now with the plugin, with the WebSocket plugin, this is also possible out of the box. And all you need to do is to enhance your service, which normally is OData, if you do not specify anything. Combine that you expose the service under the protocol OData and WebSocket, and then almost everything works out of the box. So let's see if we can do that now with Claude again. Let's see. They say, okay, update the stock, so the book stock with WebSocket side effects. So hopefully this works, because this is a little bit more. So it loads again a skill to apply the changes to my repository, and what it needs to do. So it needs to install, of course, the WebSocket plugin of the CAP.js community. It needs to enhance the service and have an event that is, okay, this does not work out. So I will switch to my fallback branch. Or before I do that, I can just show you if I would not have that, now it would do it. I check that. Without doing that, so if I start my application, Okay, I can make that. I can make that 1 minute. When I start my application, so I browse the books, for example, and I can order here for books and change the stock. It will do something, but I don't know what it did. So I need to refresh the UI. And now I see that the stock is not 12, but it is 9. And let's try it again. And if I update, change my project to include the WebSocket side effects, it's not working. Then I switch to the, maybe another chance. Okay, let's try that. So it's not reliable. Probably many people are trying this now out. For the time, I just switched to the WebSocket branch where I prepared that, and then we can see the changes. So basically, in the package JSON, we have the WebSocket module, and in the service, we have enabled the service for WebSockets and OData, and we have an event that is called stock changed, okay, with the source. And we have the Fiori elements annotation. So that is basically from Fiori element. You need that telling us, okay, that the target property, if that changes, that the entity needs to be read. And then I need to specify when it should be changed, of course, because that's my business logic. So every time you submit an order, here it is. I emit an event that the stock changed, and this one is now processed by the WebSocket plugin generically. So all you need to do, model that and say when you want to kick it off. So let's install again because I added a new dependency, and I start. And let's check what happens now. So I get a fresh server. Here's the 12 in stock. And if I click here on order stock and I press here, then you see it's automatically refreshed and saying new data is available. So this is a feature of Fiori Elements, which is somehow supported now with my module. And you also see in the network tab, we can do that again. That there is a, or maybe I should refresh the BS call where it is. Here it is. So you see here it's connected via WebSockets. You see here the messages, and when I order something, you should see the transport of a message here, and it's in the PCP format, and it's all taken care of for you automatically. So all you have to do is to install the module, enhance the service, and fire the event. And that concludes my talk. So that's what I wanted to convey to you. Thanks for listening, and yeah, have a good time.
Okay, thanks, Oliver. We have started a bit late and we run a bit over time, but very tiny bit, so we are good in time. We would have time for one question from the room. Do we have one? Okay.
Hi, thanks for the demo. I have a question. So I haven't used the WebSocket in the context of CAP, but this behavior that you showed was a side effect on an action updating something. So this is something which I've done without WebSocket. For me, it's just normal side effects behavior. And what's the advantage of the WebSocket? Does it mean then it will be continuously updated even if someone else is performing this action in the background forever?
Yeah, you're right. So WebSockets basically is not, trigger is different. You executed an action and then your UI refreshes, but the backend knows that the change occurred, and it will notify every subscribed client, meaning everyone that is showing this UI will get an automatic refresh without a need. WebSockets, you can also do this periodically, that the server knows, okay, there is new data, and then the UI refresh. Trigger is different, and you must not be the trigger. If I would open a parallel tab, you would see that it will also refresh automatically without interaction.
Okay, thank you. That's very cool. I think this has been requested very often in Fiori, something that automatically updates. And so far, people used a lot of hacks and workarounds, and this is very nice.
It's out of the box supported because also from the OData protocol, companion URL to the WebSocket. then Fiori to work in list, but also.
Thank you.
Is it a quick question? Okay.
Can we have it in freestyle too? Normal OData V4 model?
Yes, you can have it also in freestyle too. Yes, the UI5 has a WebSocket class that you can just import and okay. And you have to do a little bit of wiring to know what you want to do. For example, if you want to update our project, we have it freestyle because, as said, we want to have more freedom. For example, having more specific broadcasting of the events. So in that case, everybody would now get the event that is registered to the same service. But sometimes you, for example, know that you are in a specific chat and you only want to get information for the chat. I guess this is not something that Fiori serves out of the box currently, but if you do it freestyle, you can decide, for example, that you do not update the UI, but you just put on a banner like you are used to that in GitHub, where you see, okay, refresh because there's new data. And then you can decide if you want to refresh the page and leave the context, or if you want to stay in the context because you're currently working on the data. So yes, it's of course also freestyle, but you need to take care on the UI part, and that can be done with UI5 WebSocket class.
Okay, thanks.
Sorry, we are running out of time for questions, but Oliver's still around, so you can ask him after the session. Okay, thanks for attending the session. Thanks, Oliver.